without layering too many issues, my overall question is about having that temper tantrum, whether in the moment of fire in the brain, she just turned 3. She screams. She just stands there and she screams as loud as she physically can to dominate the space.
I got you. What do we do? She's screaming on. And there's some pretty serious implications. It sounds like it's happening in the car. Daycare is not happy about this. Her nervous system is in more of a state of stress, and that she is, of course, a type of child who has more of a fiery, intense personality, because she's not just like melting when you give her a hug. She doesn't want to be touched at all, which is really common for intense brain kids. You're doing all the positive relationship building things that you saw in the pillars. If it doesn't shift a child's behavior, that tells us something else is needed. There are some kids where when you do this technique of creating space for them to cry and yell and be mad and rage, where you can be with them and you can say, I see how mad you are. My friend has a kid like this. She'll melt down in front of us and she'll say, I see how mad you are. You're frustrated. And this kid's like, but sitting on the couch next to her, versus my kid is like, pushing and like doesn't want me to say anything and won't let me wrap him up until it's 15 minutes later. When we're looking at a meltdown or dysregulation, we're looking at how does this child reset? There are some kids who reset because you're nice and close and soft and cooing them through it. And there's some kids who reset because they've had some space to breathe and they had a red light boundary placed in front of them. But the more theoretical consideration is, if she's having this much screaming, it means that she's not able to come back into regulation and put the brake pedal on. She's got the gas pedal on high and she's pretty revved up, which makes me think a support resource like pediatric chiropractic to do these gentle touch points to activate. It's actually really specifically in this upper part of the neck that turns on your brake pedal and calms anxiety, increases your capacity to be calm. The other thing is, from a discipline perspective, having boundaries and saying you need to be in your room when they're screaming because it hurts ears, or if she lashes out, it hurts bodies. That's an okay thing to do. It would be really nice to have something hung up on the wall that show different emotions. So this is more a cognitive teaching about social and emotional skills and how to regulate yourself, but it will show pictures of feelings and it will show what do you do with taking breaths and all of that. It's not necessarily totally different than what an intentional parent might teach their kid, but it's really sweet visual. So they get a lot of repetition and it sinks in at the speed of light instead of us trying to use the auditory channel. Her temperament sounds different than your first kid's. So she might be the one who especially needs it. Yeah. There's personality types. For the kid who's fiery, here's the descriptions I would give to you. The parenting style is during the meltdown to be fairly apathetic and really cool inside, like you're a cool observer. Like, I see. Knowing that you don't have to do anything might help you weather it a little bit more, because she's going to have to go all the way through it until she gets to completion. I think about that visceral response when the baby cries and it's like, I got to do something. You don't have to do something in this moment other than being there.